I had just turned off the kitchen lights when I heard the front door open slowly, carefully, like someone was afraid to be heard. It was 11:48 p.m. Too late for anyone to be stopping by. My heart jumped. But then I saw him. My son, Ethan, standing in the dim hallway. His hoodie was damp from the mist outside. His eyes were red, his breathing uneven. He kept glancing over his shoulder as if someone dangerous had followed him. "Mom," he whispered. His voice cracked, something I hadn't heard since he was a boy. "Mom, I need to tell you something before she comes back." She. He never said she like that. Never with fear. Never with dread. I stepped forward. "Ethan, honey, what's wrong? You're shaking." He pressed his hands together, trying to steady them. "For 12 years. I didn't tell you." He swallowed hard. "She made me promise. She made me choose." Choose? My throat tightened. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I should have never picked her over you. Picked her. Over me." The words cut deeper than he knew. Before I could respond, headlights swept across the living room through the blinds. Ethan froze. "She's back," he whispered. And in that moment, the truth he had hidden for 12 years was about to break my entire world apart. "My name is Margaret Hollis, and I spent my life believing that if you raised your child with love, they would never forget it. I raised Ethan alone. My husband died when Ethan was 7, heart attack on a cold November morning. I worked full-time as a nurse, double shifts, sometimes triple, just to keep us afloat. I packed lunches, signed homework folders half asleep, and still made it to every school play, every parent-teacher meeting, every scraped knee and late-night fever. I wasn't perfect, but I was there. Always there. Ethan grew up my little miracle. He'd bring me flowers he picked from neighbors' yards and say they were for the best mom in the whole planet. We spent summers fishing at Lake Haven, winters baking cookies that always came out slightly burnt. He'd fall asleep during storms with his head on my lap while I read him old library books. He always used to say, "Mom, when I'm grown, I'll take care of you. You'll never be alone." Those promises. They carried me through the darkest years. And even as he grew older, joined sports, got his driver's license, moved into his own apartment, we still talked every day. He'd call me after work just to check in. "Hey, Mom. Did you eat? Need anything?" He was my heart, my companion, my safety in the world. Until he met her. The woman who would slowly, quietly, and methodically pull him away from me. Piece by piece. Year by painful year. Before everything changed. Before silence, distance, and 12 years of unanswered questions. Ethan was the kind of son other mothers envied. He wasn't perfect, no one is, but he had a softness to him. A gentleness. He'd open car doors for strangers, shovel neighbors' driveways without being asked, and always slipped a pack of my favorite peppermint gum into my grocery bag even when he was barely scraping by. When he moved out at 27, he still came over every Sunday. He'd walk in with bags of groceries and say, "Mom, quit buying everything on your own. I make good money now. Let me help." We cooked dinner together, arguing about whose potato salad recipe was better, mine or his. We watched crime shows and made bets on who the killer was. He fixed anything that broke in the house, from the garbage disposal to the squeaky back door, always saying, "If Dad were here, he'd want me to take care of you." I never said it out loud, but a part of me believed that when Ethan finally settled down, I'd gain a daughter, someone who'd join our Sunday dinners, laugh with us, and bring more warmth into our home. I imagined holidays with more chairs around the table. Grandkids one day. A family growing, not shrinking. But that was before the day he said, "Mom, I want you to meet someone." And everything, every memory, every routine, every part of Ethan I knew began to shift. Slowly, silently, until I barely recognized him at all. Her name was Vanessa Hale. The first time Ethan brought her over, she walked into my home like it was a hotel lobby she'd already decided she didn't like. Perfect hair. Perfect nails. Perfect posture. Perfect everything. Except her smile. Her smile never reached her eyes. "Hi, Mrs. Hollis," she said, offering her hand instead of a hug. Her tone was polite, Her face was polite. Her words were polite. But something about her felt cold, like she'd wrapped herself in glass and dared anyone to try touching her. When I asked how she and Ethan met, she cut him off and answered for him. When I complimented her dress, she said, "It's vintage," in a way that made me feel like I'd said something wrong. And when I served dinner, she pushed her food around her plate and whispered to Ethan, "There's too much salt," with a smile that wasn't really a smile. But Ethan, he looked at her the way men look at the sun, blinded by brightness, unable to see the burn. He laughed too loud at her jokes, agreed with every opinion she had. And when I tried to talk to him alone, she placed a hand on his arm and answered for him again. Before leaving, she scanned my living room, my home, with thinly veiled judgment. And then she said it. "Ethan, your place is so much nicer than this. We should host from now on." I felt it like a sting. A tiny wound. The first of many. Ethan noticed the tension. "Mom," he said softly after walking her to the car, "she's just nervous. She wants you to like her." I forced a smile, because I wanted to believe that. I really did. But as their car pulled away, I felt something deep inside me shift. Something I couldn't name yet. A quiet warning. A whisper in my chest. Be careful. Ethan and Vanessa married 8 months after that first dinner. Too fast, if you ask anyone. But love, or what looked like love, can blur red flags into rose petals. At first, I tried to stay hopeful. I told myself, she'll warm up eventually. She just needs time. But instead of warming up, Vanessa turned colder and colder and colder. It started small. The Sunday dinners stopped. "We're busy this week, Mom." Then the phone call shortened. "Sorry, can't talk long, Vanessa needs something." Then came the first moment that pierced me. I called to check on him during a snowstorm. Before Ethan could answer, I heard Vanessa in the background, sharp and irritated. "Why is your mother calling again? Doesn't she get boundaries?" Ethan lowered his voice, embarrassed, trying to calm her. My heart cracked listening to it. He came over less. Then barely at all. Every time I asked, "Are you okay?" he said he was fine. But he wasn't. He started speaking carefully, like every word he said at home was monitored. He'd stop mid-sentence and say, "Never mind, she needs me." The life faded from his eyes slowly, like a candle burning shorter and shorter. And with every passing month, Vanessa tightened her grip. Whenever I invited them over, she'd give a sweet excuse. "Oh, thank you, Margaret, but we already have plans." Whenever I sent Ethan a text, he replied hours later with a stiff, almost rehearsed tone. Whenever I suggested we spend time together, he said, "Things are complicated right now." Complicated. That was the word he clung to. But the truth was much simpler. I was being phased out of my own son's life. One boundary at a time. One guilt trip at a time. One cold, calculated whisper at a time. 12 years. 12 long, heavy years of silence and confusion. Every holiday, every birthday, every Mother's Day, each one quietly reshaping my heart into something smaller, quieter, more breakable. I tried. I tried so hard. I sent cards. Left friendly voicemails. Dropped off cookies on their porch. Invited them to Thanksgiving, Christmas, summer barbecues. Half the time, I didn't even get an answer. The other half, the answer was, "Vanessa's not feeling well." Or, "We're traveling." Or, "We're busy with her family this year." Her family. Always her family. There's a special kind of pain in realizing your child is sharing their laughter, their milestones, their life. With everyone except you. Neighbors would ask, "How's Ethan doing?" I'd smile and lie, "He's great." Busy, but great. Because what else does a mother say? That she doesn't know? That her son slipped away from her, not suddenly, but quietly, through 12 years of emotional erosion? Some nights I cried into my pillow, careful not to make a sound, like a child hiding from the dark. Other nights I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, staring at the driveway, hoping, just hoping, that Ethan might surprise me with a visit, like he used to. He never did. And when he did call once in a blue moon, his voice was guarded, tight, pressured, like someone else was always listening. Because someone was. Vanessa, that woman didn't just marry him. She swallowed him, piece by piece, until, eventually, I started to believe he had willingly abandoned me. That maybe I had done something wrong. That maybe I wasn't enough. But deep inside, deep beneath the years of silence, there remained a single ember of hope. That someday my son would come back. Someday he would look me in the eyes and tell me the truth. I just never expected that truth to arrive in the middle of the night. 12 years later, with headlights sweeping across my living room and terror in his voice as he whispered, "Mom, she's back." Ethan stood in my hallway like a man who'd run for miles, not physically, but emotionally. He kept wringing his hands, pacing, checking the window every few seconds as if expecting Vanessa to appear on the porch at any moment. I'd never seen my son like this, not even when he was a child scared of thunderstorms. His breathing was shallow. His eyes were frantic. His shoulders trembled with every exhale. "Ethan," I whispered, stepping closer, "what are you so afraid of? What did she do to you?" He shook his head. I can't waste time. I don't know how long she'll be gone." That sentence alone tightened something inside my chest. He looked over his shoulder again before speaking. "Mom, these past 12 years, they weren't my choice." My heart dropped. "Then whose choice were they?" I asked. He closed his eyes, shame flooding his face. "Vanessa's." He collapsed onto the couch like the truth itself had knocked the strength out of his legs. I sat beside him. "Ethan, honey, talk to me. Please." He ran both hands through his hair, tugging at the roots like he wanted to tear out the last decade of his life. "She made me choose," he said. His voice cracked so sharply I felt it in my bones. "Choose what?" I whispered. His answer shattered me. "You or her." My breath caught. "And I." He gulped. "I chose her, Mom." "I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry." Tears burned my eyes instantly. I felt them gather, spill, mix with 12 years of ache. "Ethan," I whispered, my voice trembling, "why would she make you choose something like that? Why would any wife?" Ethan cut me off, shaking his head violently. "You don't understand. She didn't ask. She threatened. She told me if I kept seeing you, she'd leave me. She'd take everything. My job connections. My savings. My reputation. Everything I'd worked for." He swallowed hard, fighting his emotions. And I was stupid enough to believe her. I reached for his hand. He didn't pull away. "Ethan, you should have come to me." "I couldn't," he said, voice breaking again. "She made me swear I wouldn't tell you. She checked my phone, my emails, my social media. She deleted your messages when I didn't respond fast enough. She blocked your calls twice and pretended it was a glitch." My heart twisted. I remembered those weeks he never returned my calls. Those months without a single message. Those holidays where I waited at a table set for two. He continued, voice shaking. "You know the night I told you we were too busy to come over? I wasn't busy. I was sitting in the driveway. I wanted to come in so badly, but she was crying, begging me not to abandon her. She said you hated her, that you were trying to break us apart." He buried his face in his hands. And I believed her lies. Every single one. I placed a hand on his back, feeling the tremors of regret ripple through him. And then he whispered the words that broke me all over again. I thought I was protecting my marriage, but all I did was destroy my mom. A tear slipped down my cheek. "Sweetheart," I whispered, "you never destroyed me. You just disappeared." And I didn't know why. He looked at me with eyes full of guilt. "That's what she wanted." Ethan leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped tight. "There's more," he said. Of course there was. There's always more when someone whispers truths after midnight. He continued. "Vanessa didn't just want me to stay away from you. She needed it. She fed off it. The control. The isolation. The power." A chill moved across my arms. He stared at the floor, voice hollow. "The fights we had. Mom, you don't know. She'd turn anything into a threat." He mimicked her voice, quiet and sharp. "If you go to your mom's house, don't bother coming back. If your mom calls again, I swear I'll walk out. If your mother keeps interfering, I'll tell everyone she's toxic. If you choose her over me, You'll regret it for the rest of your life. I felt sick, a physical ache settling in my stomach. How could she talk to you like that? I whispered. He let out a humorless laugh. She talked to me however she wanted, because she knew I wouldn't leave. A long pause. Heavy. Thick. Then he added, she even said if I kept seeing you, she'd lie in court and accuse you of harassment if it meant destroying our relationship. My breath hitched. She threatened. Me? Ethan nodded, shame tightening his features. I should have told you. I should have protected you. You're my mother. You raised me alone. You gave up everything for me. And instead of choosing you. His voice cracked again. I let her cut you out of my life like you didn't exist. I wiped my tears on the back of my sleeve. Ethan, look at me. He lifted his head slowly. You were young. You were scared. You were married to someone who manipulated your weaknesses. That doesn't make you a bad son. His lips trembled. Then why do I feel like one? I squeezed his hand. Because you're not like her. You have a conscience. He let out a shaky breath. But Mom. His voice grew even softer. The real reason I'm here tonight, it's worse. A tension rose in the room, tight, suffocating. His eyes glistened. Mom, she's not the woman you think. And she's not who I thought, either. My heart pounded. What do you mean? He looked toward the window, fear returning to his face. She's been hiding something from both of us, something dangerous, and tonight I finally found out the truth. He swallowed hard. And it's why I ran here. Ethan stood up and began pacing again. Not just nervous pacing, this was fear pacing. The kind someone does when their body is screaming run, but their heart is whispering tell her. Mom. His voice cracked. You know how Vanessa always hated me visiting you, how she kept me away for 12 years? I nodded slowly. That wasn't the real reason. He took a deep breath. She wasn't protecting our marriage, she was protecting her secret. A chill ran down my spine. Secret? I whispered. He nodded, jaw tight. For years. She's been lying about everything. Her past. Her money. Her family. Her illnesses. Her job promotions. All of it. I blinked. Why would she lie about things like that? Ethan's voice dropped to a whisper. Because, Mom, she's been hiding another life. My stomach flipped. What life? He hesitated, then spoke the words that made the room feel smaller. She has another child. I froze. Another child? He nodded. And she hid the entire existence of that child for over a decade. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Ethan, are you telling me Vanessa had a baby before she married you? He shook his head slowly. No, Mom. His voice trembled. She had him while we were married. The air was sucked out of my lungs. I grabbed the arm of the couch to steady myself. What? Ethan's eyes filled with tears. She had a son. A little boy. He's 11 years old now. She's been hiding him, Mom. Hiding him from everyone, including me. My mind raced. How's that even possible? Where has he been? Who's the father? Ethan swallowed hard. That's the worst part. I don't know. His voice broke completely. She told everyone he was her cousin's kid. She kept him with her family across the state. She visited him alone. Sent money secretly. Lied about every trip she took. My hand shook. Ethan, why would she hide her own child? Why lie to you? He looked down, shoulders trembling. Because she knew I'd leave her if I found out. And she was terrified of losing everything I provided. I took a shaky breath. It must have been an accident, Ethan. A mistake. Something she was ashamed of. He cut me off sharply. No, Mom. It wasn't a mistake. He stepped closer. She kept him a secret because the father was someone she knew she wasn't supposed to be with. My breath caught. Who? Ethan's jaw clenched. A married man. She was his mistress for years. Before me, and during our marriage. The room tilted. I felt dizzy. And she threatened you for 12 years, because she didn't want you to know she had another man's child? He nodded slowly. Yes. She knew if I told you anything at all, her entire world would collapse. And tonight, he whispered, voice shaking, I found the proof. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a crumpled folder, stuffed so tight it was almost bursting. I wasn't supposed to see this, he said. But I came home early tonight, and Vanessa wasn't careful. He handed me the folder. Inside were birth records, photos, receipts, travel documents, a little boy with Vanessa's eyes and another man's smile. Documents showing she'd been wiring money every month. Emails with subject lines like, "We need to talk about the arrangement." And, "He's asking about me again." A sickening weight dropped into my stomach. "Ethan, how long have you known?" He sank down beside me. "Tonight," he whispered. "I found these tonight." My heart twisted. "And you ran here?" "I didn't know where else to go." His voice cracked. "I didn't know who else I had." I placed my hand over his. "You always have me." He let out a sob, collapsing against me like he had when he was little. "I thought I was doing the right thing, Mom," he cried softly. "I stayed to keep the peace. I stayed because I didn't want to break my vows. I stayed because I thought I owed her something." I stroked his hair, feeling tears fill my own eyes. "And all this time, she was living a lie." He nodded into my shoulder. "That's why she didn't want me near you." His voice shook. "You'd have seen through her. You always do." A silence hung between us, heavy, devastating. Then he whispered, "And now she knows I found out." My head snapped up. "What do you mean?" He looked at me with terror in his eyes. "When I left the house, she woke up. She saw the folder in my hand. She followed me to the car." Fear shot through me. "Ethan, did she follow you here?" He swallowed hard. "I don't know." He turned toward the window, and the color drained from his face. "Mom," he whispered, voice trembling. "I think she's here." The hallway was too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. Lucas stood in front of the door like a man bracing for impact. His shoulders were tight, fists half closed, breath shallow. I'd never seen my son look so much like a frightened child and a cornered animal at the same time. Then, click. The lock turned. The doorknob twitched. And the door swung open with the slow confidence of someone who expected the entire house and every soul in it to revolve around her. Emily stepped inside. Her expression was perfectly arranged. Not angry, not confused, just expectant. "Lucas," she murmured, shutting the door behind her with a soft thud. "I thought you said you were going to bed." Lucas swallowed, throat bobbing. I was. I just needed a minute." "A minute for what?" She set her purse on the entry table, eyes scanning the room like a security camera that never blinked. "It's almost midnight." She took one step toward him, then another. Then her eyes flicked to me. The smile she gave me wasn't a smile. It was an assessment. "Oh, you're still awake." Her tone had edges, sharp, surgical. "I was just getting a glass of water," I managed. She hummed lightly. "At this hour?" I opened my mouth, but Lucas stepped in front of me barely, but deliberately. Emily's gaze narrowed. She saw it. She felt it. The shift in his body. The tiny spark of defiance. And her voice changed. Soft. Sweet. Cold. "Lucas, can we talk privately?" He froze. Not physically he nodded. A small, pitiful nod. But emotionally, the life drained out of him. "Sure," he whispered. She tilted her head. "Now." He turned back to me, eyes wide, silently begging me to stay calm, to pretend, to let the moment pass without a fight. I touched his arm gently. "Good night, sweetheart." But as they walked down the hall, Emily looked back at me one last time. A stare. Piercing. Measuring. Almost triumphant. The bedroom door shut behind them. And then the house exhaled all at once, as if holding its breath for her. The moment they disappeared into their room, the atmosphere shifted. The walls felt thinner. The air pressed down heavier. And somewhere behind their door I heard it. A muffled argument. Not loud enough to make out words, but enough to make out emotion. Lucas's voice is strained, pleading. Emily's controlled, steady, with lashes of steel underneath. I stood at the end of the hallway, heart in my throat. Is this what had been happening for 12 years? Conversations behind closed doors? Secrets spoken only when no one else could hear? A son bending, breaking, shrinking? A wife tightening her grip until he barely breathed. I backed away slowly, each step heavier than the last. In the kitchen, the refrigerator's hum was the only witness to my shaking hands. I poured a glass of water just to give them something to do, but the water sloshed over the rim. I didn't drink it. I just stood there, staring at the window, dark, empty, reflecting a woman who didn't recognize the boy she raised or the life he'd married into. Minutes passed. Or maybe an hour. Then, the door creaked. Lucas emerged. His face was pale, eyes red, shoulders slumped like something inside him had finally collapsed. He didn't speak. He just walked toward me, slow steps, defeated steps. And when he reached the kitchen doorway, he whispered, "Mom, I'm sorry." "For what?" I asked. He shook his head. "For everything I didn't tell you. For everything she made me hide. For everything I let happen." His voice broke. I reached for him, but he stepped back. "Not here," he murmured. She can hear everything." The fear in his voice. That wasn't normal fear. That was conditioned fear. The kind learned over years. The kind you don't shake off easily. The kind someone puts into you slowly, deliberately, until you don't know where your voice went. So I whispered, "Tomorrow. Tell me tomorrow." He nodded. But then, from down the hall, "Lucas," Emily's voice. Soft, but edged with a slicing command underneath. His breath caught. "I have to go," he said. And he disappeared into the shadows of the hallway again. The bedroom door closed. And that sound echoed through my chest like a warning. Tonight wasn't the end. Tonight was the beginning. Because whatever my son was about to confess, whatever she had hidden for 12 years, it wasn't just painful. It was dangerous. And tomorrow, I would learn the truth. I barely slept. Every time I drifted off, I heard echoes. Emily's sharp whisper. Lucas's breaking voice. The door clicking shut behind them like a cell. By dawn, the house felt hollow. Still. Waiting. I went to the kitchen to make coffee, but my hands shook too much to pour. The spoon clinked against the mug like a tiny alarm bell. I kept listening for footsteps, his footsteps, hoping he'd come out before she woke up. Hoping he would speak without fear. Hoping today would be the day he finally broke free. At 6:14 a.m., the bedroom door creaked. I turned. Lucas stepped out. He looked like he hadn't slept in years. His hair was messy, his eyes bloodshot, his shoulders bent under a weight he shouldn't have been carrying alone. He closed the bedroom door gently, too gently, as if afraid the sound might wake the monster in the room behind him. "Mom," he whispered. "I need to talk to you. Now, before she gets up." He wasn't trembling this time. He was hollow, as if all the fear had drained out of him and left nothing but exhaustion and truth. "Come sit," I said softly. He shook his head. "No, I can't sit." He paced once, twice, then stopped at the edge of the table, gripping it like he might collapse without something to hold on to. "I lied to you," he said. My breath froze. "About what?" He closed his eyes. "About everything." There was a long, aching pause. Then, "Mom, she never wanted you to know. She made me promise." His voice cracked. "She said it would ruin everything if you found out." My heart hammered. "Found out what, Lucas?" He ran a hand through his hair, trembling. "Do you remember 12 years ago, when we got engaged?" "Yes." "And how everything started moving fast." "Too fast?" I nodded slowly. He swallowed. "That was her. She rushed everything. She needed everything locked in place." "Why?" He inhaled sharply, then exhaled like the truth burned coming out. "Because she was hiding something. Something big. Something from her past. Something that would have stopped me from marrying her if I'd known." My heart clenched. A secret from before the marriage? "Lucas, what was she hiding?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he turned away from me and pressed both hands against the counter. His shoulders shook. I didn't want to believe her. I told myself she had good reasons. That she was scared. That I could protect her. Protect her from what? I whispered. He looked back at me, eyes shining with pain. From the truth getting out. from anyone, especially you, finding out the real reason she pushed me away from you for so many years. I stepped closer. Lucas, tell me. His voice dropped to a fragile whisper. She made me swear never to tell you. She said you'd judge her, that you'd hate her, that you'd break us apart, that you'd ruin everything. And I believed her, Mom. I believed every word. He rubbed his face with both hands. I let her isolate me. I let her convince me you were toxic, manipulative, controlling. Every time we fought, she blamed you. Every time something went wrong, she said you made her uncomfortable. She twisted everything you did. I felt something tighten in my chest, because I remembered those years. The distance, the coldness, the sudden change in my son. The way he stopped calling, stopped visiting, stopped being himself. Lucas's voice shook. I thought she was anxious, or insecure, or just adjusting to marriage. But no, that's not what it was. Then what was it? I whispered. He exhaled a long, trembling breath. Mom. A pause. A heartbeat. A tremor. She's been hiding a person. My blood ran cold. A person? He nodded, eyes filling. Yes, someone from her past. Someone she didn't want me to know existed. Someone she said would destroy the future she planned. Someone she lied about for 12 years. My hands gripped the chair so hard my knuckles ached. Lucas, who? He looked at me with the expression of a man breaking apart. Mom. She didn't just hide something. He swallowed. She hid someone. Another breath. Another tremble. She hid a child. The world tilted. A child? Emily had a child? Before Lucas? A child she never mentioned, never acknowledged, never allowed into their life. He stepped closer, voice cracking into pieces. She made me promise never to tell you. Never to tell anyone. She said if the truth came out, the child's father would come after her. That the courts would get involved. That her entire life would collapse. His eyes filled with tears. And Mom, I believed her. I chose her over you. Over everyone. I helped her hide it. God help me, I helped her. A tear rolled down his cheek. Her daughter, she abandoned her. She left her behind to build a better life. She never told me. I found out by accident. And when I confronted her, she said if I ever told anyone, especially you, she would leave. She would ruin me. She would take everything. My hand flew to my mouth. Oh, Lucas. He shook his head violently. You don't understand. This wasn't just a secret. His voice dropped. This was blackmail. Silence fell between us, heavy, suffocating, unreal. And then he whispered the words that shattered whatever pieces were left of my heart. Mom, her daughter contacted me 2 weeks ago. I staggered back. What? She knows who her mother is. She knows Emily abandoned her. And she wants answers. His voice trembled so hard I could barely understand the next words. And she's coming here. A cold wave swept through me. This was no longer just a family secret. This was an explosion waiting to happen. Mom, he whispered, tears falling freely now. I don't know what to do. And before I could respond, the bedroom door opened. Emily stood there, listening, watching, silent. Her eyes dark as midnight. Emily stood in the doorway like she'd been carved out of the shadows. Her hair was still messy from sleep, but her eyes, wide, sharp, alert, were fully awake. She had heard enough. Maybe too much. Lucas froze where he stood. I could see it, the instinctive fear, the years of conditioned obedience tightening around him like invisible ropes. Emily didn't move at first. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe. Then, slowly, she stepped into the kitchen. Morning, she said. Calm. Too calm. Like a still lake hiding something dangerous beneath the surface. Lucas's throat bobbed. We were just talking. I heard, she replied, voice smooth as glass. Her gaze cut to me. Quite a conversation to have at 6 in the morning, don't you think? I opened my mouth, but Lucas spoke first, softly, desperately. Emily, please. Let's not do this. Something flickered across her face. A sharp, Stinging flash of anger quickly smothered by a manufactured smile. "Do what, sweetheart?" she asked. "Talk? Share? Confess?" Her smile widened, brittle at the edges. "Oh wait, that's your new hobby today, isn't it?" Lucas flinched. I stepped closer. "Emily." "Don't," she snapped, so fast, so sharp. The words sliced the air in half. Then she inhaled, smoothing her voice back into its pretty shell. "Don't make this into something dramatic, okay? There's no need." But her eyes were burning. Lucas tried again. "Emily, we can't hide this anymore." She turned her head slowly, like a predator tracking movement. "Oh? Can't we?" Her voice dripped with ice. "You made me a promise, Lucas. A promise you seemed very eager to keep for 12 years. What changed?" She glanced at me. Her. Me. The mother she spent over a decade pushing out of his life. Lucas's jaw tightened. "This isn't about my mother." "Oh, really?" She laughed, short and bitter. "Because from where I'm standing, this whole little performance started the moment she arrived." Lucas shook his head. "Emily, stop. This is about my daughter," she hissed. Silence snapped through the room. She said it. She said the word she had buried for 12 years. Her expression twisted anguish, hatred, fear, shame, all blending into something unstable. "She wasn't supposed to find me," Emily whispered, voice trembling now. "She wasn't supposed to ever contact us. That was the deal. I left for a reason." Lucas stepped toward her. She deserves answers." She stepped back like he'd struck her. "Don't you dare take her side," Emily rasped. "Don't you dare turn against me now." "I'm not turning against you," he said, voice breaking. "I'm trying to fix this." "Fix?" Her laugh cracked in the center. "You think this can be fixed?" Her hands shook, tiny tremors she tried to hide. "If she comes here," Emily whispered, "everything I built, everything I fought for, it's all over." "Emily," I said gently, "running from the past never makes it disappear." She turned on me so fast I actually stepped back. "You don't know anything about what I've done," she spat. "You don't know what I escaped. You don't know what I survived." Her voice was rising, sharp and wild. "I left her because I had no choice. I had no money, no support, no one. And when I met Lucas, Her voice cracked. "I saw my chance. My chance at a different life. A safer life. And I took it." Lucas whispered, "Emily, you could have trusted me." She shook her head, tears spilling now. "No, I couldn't. I knew the moment I told you, you'd look at me differently. Everyone would." She choked. "You'd all see me as the girl who abandoned her child." "No," Lucas said softly. "We would see you as someone who made a mistake. Someone who deserves forgiveness." She stared at him, breath shaking. For a moment, just a moment, her face softened. Then, a car door slammed outside. Emily's head shot up. Fear flashed like lightning through her eyes. "Oh God," she whispered. Lucas moved toward the window. A silver sedan sat in the driveway. A girl, early 20s, stepped out, clutching a backpack to her chest. She had Emily's dark hair, Emily's eyes, Emily's jawline. It was unmistakable. Emily made a strangled sound, half sob, half scream, and staggered back. "Lucas," she whispered, voice hollow. "She found me." The knock on the door was soft, tentative, hopeful. But inside the house, the air had turned to glass. Thin, fragile, seconds from shattering. Lucas looked at Emily. Emily looked at the door. I looked at the girl standing on the porch, shifting nervously from foot to foot. "She came," Lucas whispered. Emily's face crumpled. "I can't do this," she said, backing away. "Lucas, don't let her in. Please. I'm begging you." "Emily." "No." She grabbed his arm, voice cracking wide open. "You don't understand. She hates me. She should hate me." I walked away. I didn't look back. "What kind of mother does that?" "The kind who is scared," I said gently. She shook her head, tears streaming. The knock came again. "Hello." A soft voice. Is anyone home?" Emily covered her mouth with both hands. Lucas touched her shoulder. Emily, she's your daughter. She closed her eyes, shaking violently. I can't. Lucas, I can't. Please don't make me. He stepped forward and cupped her face. You're not alone anymore, he whispered. Not today. Not ever again. Emily sobbed, quiet, broken. Then, the third knock. Lucas inhaled. His jaw set. His spine straightened. He walked to the door. Emily stood frozen, a trembling statue in the center of the room. I stepped closer to her, not touching, just near enough that she knew she wasn't facing this alone. Lucas opened the door. The girl looked up at him, small, uncertain, eyes full of years of unanswered questions. Hi, she whispered. I'm looking for someone. Lucas nodded slowly. His voice broke when he spoke. You're looking for your mother. The girl blinked rapidly, her breath catching. Yes. Lucas stepped aside, and Emily's daughter stepped into the house. The moment they saw each other, those matching eyes. Time stopped. Emily's knees buckled. She caught the edge of the table to keep from collapsing. Her daughter took one hesitant step toward her. Are you? Her voice trembled. Are you really my mom? And Emily, after 12 years of silence, lies, running, finally whispered a word she never thought she'd say again. Yes. The house was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet. The kind that echoes. The kind that reminds you that once someone used to call you Mom every single morning. After the confrontation, after the police came, after the charges were filed. My son moved in with me. But healing is never simple. Some nights, I hear him pacing in the hallway at 3 a.m., whispering apologies to no one, or maybe to everyone. Other nights, he'd stare at the living room wall like he expected it to talk back. One morning, he left early for therapy, and I was sorting the mail when I found it. A white envelope. No return address. My name written neatly. For Margaret. My heart dropped. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, typed. 4 lines. You think you won. But you have no idea what he's still hiding. You only heard half the story. The other half will destroy you. There was no signature. No clue. Just those words. Like a knife turned slowly. I felt dizzy. For a moment, I wondered if it was her. Emily. From prison. Trying to claw her way into our minds again. But no, she didn't talk like that. This was someone else. Someone who knew something. Someone close. That night, when my son came home, I watched him carefully. His eyes looked clearer, his shoulders a little lighter. He had started to breathe again. So I didn't show him the letter. Not yet. But I hid it in my dresser, under my sweaters. Because something told me. That letter wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something we hadn't even uncovered yet. 3 weeks later, the truth arrived unexpectedly. I was folding laundry when my son walked into the room holding his phone, face pale, hands trembling. Mom, he whispered, I need to show you something. His voice, the same voice that woke me up the night everything shattered, was shaking again. He handed me the phone. A message on his screen. From an unknown number. Sent just 10 minutes earlier. I'm sorry to tell you this. But Emily wasn't working alone. Someone in your family helped her. Check the old cabin near Miller's Lake. You'll find everything there. My knees felt weak. I looked up at him. Do you know who sent this? He swallowed hard. Yes, he said. I think so. Before I could ask, a car horn honked outside. We both turned toward the window. A gray sedan idled across the street. The driver was someone I hadn't seen in 12 years. Someone who disappeared right when Emily entered our lives. Someone who used to be as close to my son as a brother. His cousin, Daniel. He leaned out the window, staring straight at our house. Staring straight at me. Then he smirked. And sped away. My son whispered, Mom. He knew everything. I gripped the window frame to stay standing. Because now I knew exactly what the letter meant. We had only heard half the story. The other half was still out there, watching us, waiting for the right moment to strike. And the worst part? It wasn't over. Not even close. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel smirk. The same smirk he used to have when he lied as a child. Only now it was colder, calculated, and full of something I'd never seen in him before. By morning, I had made up my mind. We're going to the cabin, I told my son. He tried to protest. Mom, maybe it's a trap. We should wait. Let the police. But I shook my head. No more waiting. No more hiding from our own life. We're ending this today. We drove out to Miller's Lake, the trees tall and silent, the air thick with tension. When the old cabin finally appeared between the pines, I felt something deep in my chest twist. The cabin looked abandoned, but the padlock on the door was new. My son broke it with the tire iron. Inside, dust floated through the sunlight like tiny ghosts. The air smelled of wood, mildew, and secrets. The room was empty except for one thing: a wooden trunk in the center of the floor. My son and I exchanged a look. He knelt, opened it slowly, and everything we thought we knew crumbled. Inside were dozens of photographs, bank receipts, printed messages, a small black notebook, and a flash drive. Each item tied with blue string, Emily's signature way of organizing things. But the photos, they weren't of her. They were of us. Me, my son, our home, our yard, my workplace. And then I saw them. Photos of me, taken from behind trees, through windows, across parking lots. My throat tightened. This wasn't 12 years of secrets. This was 15. My son picked up the notebook, flipping it open. His face drained of all color. Mom, these are surveillance notes. He turned pages quickly. Dates, times, places, little observations, emotions, arguments, routines. Then he reached the back page. One line, one sentence, in neat handwriting. She will eventually break. When she does, take everything. My stomach turned. What does that mean? I whispered. He swallowed, hands shaking. This isn't Emily's handwriting. I stared at the page, and something cold ran down my spine. I recognized it. I recognized it instantly, because I had seen that handwriting 1,000 times. It was Daniel's. We stood in that cabin, surrounded by years of stalking, planning, and manipulation. What does he want from us? My son whispered. I didn't know, but I knew one thing. This wasn't about jealousy anymore, or money, or family rivalry. It was about destroying us slowly, quietly, piece by piece. And Emily? She wasn't the mastermind. She was the weapon. My son sank onto the floor, burying his face in his hands. All this time, Mom, I thought she just manipulated me, but he was behind it all. I knelt beside him and pulled him close. For the first time in years, he let himself cry in my arms, like the boy he used to be. When we left the cabin, we took everything: the notebook, the photos, the flash drive. But just as we reached the car, a sharp crack echoed across the woods. A branch snapping. Footsteps. My son grabbed my arm. Mom, someone's here. We didn't see anyone, but we felt it. The hair on my neck stood up. We drove home in silence. That night, as I made tea to steady my shaking hands, I glanced out the kitchen window. A car was parked across the street, not moving. Lights off. Engine silent. But I knew. I knew who it was. And as if to confirm it, my phone buzzed on the counter. One message. No number. Just a video file. I clicked it. It was us. Inside the cabin. Recorded from a hidden camera. The last frame was a close-up of Daniel's face leaning into the lens. He whispered, "You found the beginning. Now wait for the ending." I dropped the phone. My son rushed in. Mom? What happened? I looked at him, and for the first time, I spoke the truth neither of us wanted to say out loud. Baby, this isn't over. It's only getting darker. And that was the moment I realized the secret his wife hid for 12 years was nothing compared to the one his cousin had been hiding for 15. The next morning, sunlight crept into my kitchen. But it didn't feel warm. Not when your family is being watched. Not when someone you once trusted is orchestrating your destruction. My son sat across from me at the table, eyes tired, shoulders tense. Neither of us had slept. The flash drive from the cabin sat between us like a loaded weapon. Finally, he whispered, "Mom, maybe we shouldn't open it." I looked at him. "Baby, he sent us that video because he wants us afraid. We've been afraid long enough." So we plugged the flash drive into my old laptop. At first, there was just a folder labeled "The Project." My breath caught. My son clicked it. Inside were more folders, labeled by year, all the way to the present. Each folder filled with audio recordings, photos, typed logs, transcripts of conversations, screenshots of texts, surveillance footage, even medical reports, and disturbingly, journal entries about my mental state. They were tracking my depression after my husband died, tracking my loneliness, tracking every argument my son and I had, tracking every moment of vulnerability. I felt sick. My son clenched his jaw. He used our tragedy like it was entertainment. But then, we reached the final folder. Inside was one single video file. We played it. The screen stayed black for a moment. Then a voice spoke. "She will lose everything soon. When she does, make sure she blames herself." I recognized the voice immediately. Daniel. Then the video faded into the dim interior of some room. He sat facing the camera, smiling. Cold. Confident. Controlled. "Hello, Margaret," he said calmly. "As you can see, I've been preparing for this moment longer than you realize." My son's hand gripped the table so hard his knuckles turned white. Daniel continued. "You think you understand the truth, but you still don't know why I did it." The screen flickered. "I'll tell you soon. Because the next part starts now." The video ended. We stared at the screen long after it went black. My son whispered, "Mom, we need help. Real help." I looked at him, my boy who had been through betrayal, manipulation, humiliation, and was still standing. "You're right," I said. "For the first time in years, we're going to fight back." I picked up the flash drive and closed my fist around it. "This ends with us," I said. "Not with him." And in that moment, for the first time in a long time, I felt strong. Not because the danger was gone, but because we were finally facing it together. You know, as a mother, as a woman who has lived a long life full of love and heartbreak, I've learned something important. Secrets don't destroy families. Silence does. My son and I spent 12 years living in confusion, shame, fear, because we thought keeping quiet would keep the peace. It didn't. It only gave evil more room to grow. And now? Now we speak. We share. We protect each other. I don't know what Daniel truly wants. I don't know how far his plan goes, or why he waited 15 years to do this. But I do know this. When a family stands together, even the darkest secrets lose their power. If you're listening to my story right now, maybe you've faced betrayal too. Maybe someone you trusted broke you. I want you to hear me clearly. You are not weak. You are not foolish. And you are not alone. People like Daniel, people who hide in shadows, who prey on pain, they only win when we stay quiet. But I've found my voice again. My son has found his strength. And no matter what comes next, we will face it together. And as for Daniel, well, I suspect the next part of this story is going to be the darkest one yet. But trust me, my dear, I'll tell you everything when the time comes.